Hello all, time for another Coffee with Kilroy, or what I sometimes call beverage in a book. My beverage, well, yeah, I think you know what that is. My voice is a little gravelly today, so I might need a little bit more of that. Today's book is a continuation of some books that I've already covered. I've covered battle maps from the American Battlefield Trust for the Civil War, American Civil War. There is an Eastern and a Western theater books. Today is battle maps of the American Revolution from the American Battlefield Trust. Then, as you can see here, this is volume 3. So you have the two Civil War books and now American Revolution book. And what the American Battlefield Trust is, I'll put a link to excuse me, my other videos in the description below, but and I think I also put a link to the American Battlefield Trust, but basically it's an organization that goes out and reclaims land battlefields for preservation. And so a lot of these maps, or at least for the Civil War, showed areas where they had reclaimed land. So it'll show you, if there's a park there, or a national monument or park for that battle, and it will also show some of the land that they've reclaimed on that battlefield from private ownership into preservation. So some of these maps will show that. I'm not as familiar with their preservation of American Revolutionary War sites, but this book will probably show some of that. I started following the American Battlefield Trust based on some of their YouTube videos. They have some historians on staff, but they tend to go out to battlefields on anniversary of that battle, and they'll bring in their staff of historians, but they'll also bring in local historians or local people that have knowledge of that battle. It's usually an interesting walk through the battlefield if you're into that stuff. Excuse me, I need some more coffee. So I started following them through YouTube, but then these books are nice too. They're well done books, as you might know if you followed my channel. One of my degrees was in geography, and so maps have always had I've always had a soft spot for maps, and maps have always had a special place in my interest. So, and if you can see these books, they're 3-hole punch, so you can put these like in a binder, so you can take this out if you wanted to have a little bit more protective binder. When you go walk these battlefields, you have it right there for you. And the Civil War ones had that as well. Let's take a look at the back of the book here. So let's have a comment here. What does this comment say here? Wow, I just love those maps that you guys send to me. Is a phrase that the staff of the American Battlefield Trust hears on a weekly basis, and the expression refers to one of the cornerstone initiatives of the organization, mapping the battlefields of the Revolutionary War, the War of 1812, and the American Civil War. It'd be interesting when they come out with the war, if they come out with a version of this for the War of 1812. That'd be interesting. Not a war that I'm as familiar with. I've got some games on it, played some games on it, read some of the history, but by far, between those 3 wars, it's my least covered that I've, or least have to know the least about. Let's put it that way. The American Battlefield Trust is a premier battlefield preservation organization in the United States. Over the last 30 years, the American Battlefield Trust and its members have preserved more than 54,000 acres of battlefield land across 145 battlefields in 24 states, as sites such as Lexington Concord, Brandywine, Yorktown, Shiloh, and Gettysburg. Other than physically walking across the hollow battlegrounds that the American Battlefield Trust has saved, the best way to illustrate the importance of the properties that we have preserved is through our battle maps. Through the decades, American Battlefield Trust has created hundreds of maps detailing the actions of major battles. Now, for the first time in book form, we have collected these maps of some of the most iconic battles of the Revolutionary War. In Volume 3 of our Battlefield Maps Battle Maps of the American Battlefield Trust series, you can follow the course of the war from Lexington Concord to the British surrender at Yorktown. Study the major actions of the Revolutionary War from start to finish utilizing this unparalleled collection of maps. Alrighty, so there you have it. This is what we're going to be looking at here. And I'll probably page through most of it, but I'm not going to try to do just a full read of this. There is some text in here. There is some context that goes in this book as well. But really it's the maps, right? That's what we're here to look at. And the one thing I like about American Battlefield Trust is that their maps are consistent throughout all their maps, as far as the same kind of tables they use, the same kind of coloration, notation, stuff like that. That makes it easier to look at their maps because you're familiar with what they've done before. Here are the battles that are going to be covering. So you have everywhere from Lexington Concord up to Yorktown right here. So this is all the maps or all the battles they're covering in between. Here's a foreword, what goes into making a new map. I'm definitely going to read up on that. Here's an introduction. It's giving you some context about what they do. Here's American Battlefield Trust, where they have protected or preserved some sites. Then we're into Lexington and Concord, April 19th, 1775. And they'll usually have this note here: to date, the American Battlefield Trust has saved 1 acre at Lexington and Concord. So we'll be able to see, it doesn't show where it's saved at. So they've saved 1 acre, so it's pretty small. But here's the map they have there. Then you're going to have some inset maps here of Lexington and Concord. So you got the battlefield green and town of Lexington owned properties. So you get to see some of what the preservation is, but they also lay out what the battle was. It's a battle map, right? Here is preserved by the Minutemen National Historic Park. You got a piece of that there. You don't necessarily see where that's at, but unless it's all this gray area here. Then we have more on the Lexington and Concord here. And here's the actual troop movements at more of an outset look at that. Center that a little bit. Battle of Fort Ticonderoga. Bunker Hill. See that one. Let's go a little bit closer there. And they'll show you what's preserved and what's state and local owned, but it also shows where the forces are kind of lined up there as well. Siege of Boston. Highly recommend the book 1775 on that. That's a good read. Battle of the Great Bridge. Battle of Quebec, Sullivan's Island, Northern Strategy. So they're showing you generally some of the major conflicts of the Northern Strategy there. Philadelphia, Saratoga. Then we get the Battle of Brooklyn. And that's a city park there. Looks like you've got a little bit of a National Park Service there. White Plains, which GMT just added a game from their Battles of the American Revolutionary War system to that. Mounted map board, the first in the series. Battle of Forts Washington Lee, Trenton, the famous day after Christmas raid. There's January 2nd Battle of Trenton, Battle of Princeton. As you can see, you have different variety of maps in here as well. Here's Brandywine. And there's going to be some inset maps of this. Several ones on this battle, showing how it developed. Hubbardton, Fort Anne, Morris County, and there's a game on this out of the Battles of the American Revolutionary War, or Battles of the American Revolution. That's it. Battles of the American Revolution for GMT. Battle on that, or game on that. Bennington. Here's Saratoga Freeman's Farm. There's been games on that. A lot of games on this. This is preserved by the Saratoga National Historical Park. Then you have these others are preserved by other organizations. We have Germantown. Then we have Battle of Saratoga, Bemis Heights on October 7th. See that there? Sorry, I'm cutting off part of that there. Even more of that. See, it shows how the battle develops there. Oh, taking me out. This is a little bit further outset of showing where it was on October 10th to the 17th. Monmouth. Several maps on this. In New Jersey, June 28th, 1770. It says 1778. Yeah, there we go. Fort Vincentins. Man, I'm butchering that today. Coffee break. Battle of Newtown. Now we'll get into the southern battles here. Kettle Creek. Siege of Savannah. There is a GMT game on that. Or Battles of American Revolution on that. Charleston. Flipping through some here. Waxhaws, they've preserved 50.84 acres here. Hanging Rock, 71.84 acres here. So these are some of the ones they've done quite a bit of preservation. Camden, 294.45 acres. So that's all this blue right here. Kings Mountain. Cowpens. Several on that as that develops. The infamous Tarleton. Siege of Pensacola. Guilford Courthouse. Gotta look at Guilford Courthouse here, how that develops. And then we have Holbrook's Hill, 96. Green Spring. Eutaw Springs. This one is also in the Battles of American Revolution. Siege of Yorktown. There we have that right there. And the rest of this is going to be talking a little bit about, I guess, there. Oh, here it is. Here's Yorktown here too. Actual siege, or from the sea perspective. Here's a glossary. Here's the Liberty Trail. That's interesting. Might need to try that sometime. Look at all those different sites there. A short history of the battlefield preservation movement. And here's the project team, and then here's some of the other services and stuff they do. And you can join up to preserve some land yourself with the American Battlefield Trust. So anyway, that's what I have for you today. Let me know what you think about this. Any of these kind of atlases and books. I actually started up a whole new playlist on maps and atlases, and I put these in here, and they'll probably find their way into the individual battles. So if you're looking at my playlist on individual battles, you might find videos for these as well to take a look at, and if you wanted to look at the map that's associated with that battle as well. Anyway, that's what I have for you today. Hope you're enjoying your day. Hope you're enjoying your coffee or tea or beverage of choice. And let me know your thoughts on this, on these, on either on the American Battlefield Trust, but on these battle maps. Do you like using them? I generally, as I said before, I like maps in general, but I also use them in connection with playing war games. I usually pull out an atlas or maps or whatever I have available when I'm playing a war game to get a feel for the battle and for the history as I'm playing it. I'm very much a visual person, and so seeing it on a battle map, and then of course a lot of these boards that we play on, these hex grids we play on, are maps, right? They're battle maps. So anyway, that's what I have for you today. Thanks for stopping by. Take care. Thanks for watching.